So here's the thing about best of lists. They tend to be personal favorites, masquerading around like a sports ball final. If presented like that, head to head, which Mega Man will take home the Platinum Trophy? Fuck me, I wish I had this idea before I started recording these games. I should have done them all on PlayStation, but guess we'll just roll with it. So here we are. Welcome to the Mega Dome. First up is Mega Man 1. I never played this one much as a kid. For obvious reasons. It's hard as hell. It doesn't have muscle memory and nostalgia to help it along. The basics are mostly all here. Dr. Wily feeling outraged that his college colleague has far eclipsed him in the field of robotics. What Wily lacked in innovation, he exceeded in modification. Specifically modifying the 6 or 8, depending on the version you're playing, Robot Masters to rebel against the humans that have grown dependent on them. Each Robot Master had a job before being repurposed to just be a real pain in the ass. The stages you travel through tells a story. You can get a feel for what each robot was made for. Lumber mill, power plant, construction, Arctic research, forge work. You get the gist. Mega Man has to go stop these rogue robots and save the people caught unaware. Mega Man, being a repurposed, adaptable lab assistant robot, has the ability to copy other robots' programming, then modify his own energy weapons to reproduce theirs, using a limited amount of energy for each. These new powers give you more options in range and ways of attacking each stage and each boss. As well as having a hidden item that's just used for making little force field bridges to run over, helping you skip the more bullshit segments. The stages feel the most generic of all the games, sure. Though, narratively speaking, they weren't made as traps for Mega Man. They were made to be messed up post-Robot Riot versions of in-world areas. So the broken rails and big pits, it all makes sense. Is it a good game? No, not really. There's no real story provided here on the NES. Most of its lore comes from later games and the far superior PSP remake. I know it's bad form to call a match before the showdown, but when the game you go up against is Mega Man 2, you know you gotta bring your A game, not just being a game. The boss fights are ridiculously hard. The power-ups and weapon energy pickups are far too few to be considered fair, especially as how the fights either require a specific weapon or be on a whole different level of skill not seen since the 1980s. I can't recommend Mega Man 1 as your first game, or to visit it if you're just playing the Mega Man series. Play it if you like, but don't judge the series on that. Mega Man 2, feel free. Just base every assessment of the series on this game. It's my favorite game that I'm not very good at. How does it stack up to 1? It's better. Think about any part in Mega Man 1. It's better here. Specifically, better story direction, and such as it has story direction. Now, Wily isn't even hiding the fact that he is on it. 8 fully weaponized Robot Masters, armed with buzzsaws and bubbles for mounting their themed attacks from specialized areas that admittedly seem less coherent to the world. That in mind, these stages are more forgiving, with hazards that grow in complexity to slowly ease you into the action. Now, no worries, I won't prattle on about stage design. Most of the time these videos bring it up in a way that oversells the obvious. So in this situation, just play it, pay attention to how it flows. Better weapons? No. I mean, okay, just metal blade. When in doubt, buzzsaw it out. Of existence. If you get smacked about, no worries. 2 brings in E-tanks. Pocket heals you can use when you need it. So damage-based deaths don't feel cheap anymore. It's a calculated death, more often than not. Some stage hazards, though, not so much. Don't get used to the freedom of metal blade aiming. Mega Man games love to keep that buster straight ahead, so let's forget the rest of them for now. How is it on its own? Fan-tastic. From presentation to difficulty, it is solid. Pretty sure it was my first one, either 2 or 4, but let's say 2 because it was the first one I beat. The hidden magnet beam is gone, but it was replaced with 3 items called Item 1, Item 3, and Item 2 respectively. These items become integral later on, but the stages have plenty of spots to farm enemies for drops. So there isn't a shortage of ammo energy capsules or one-mans. And let me tell you, figuring out where to effectively farm feels great. Almost like you're cheating. Difficulty is definitely ramped up, yet somehow seems fair. It's a completely doable game. Maybe use a guide or save states. Stick it out, blast Wily, and then just leave like Mega Man is apt to do. So do we need to do a showdown? Not this time. Mega Man 2 wins hands down. So let's be fair here. Mega Man 1 feels more classic. The simpler art direction and the grueling difficulty just screams NES. For the most part, 2 through 6 have the same aesthetic. So with all that in mind, an argument could be made for 1, which is the wrong argument. When you stop to think about the boss fights, Mega Man 1 has the yellow demon, and yeah, sure, that's hard. But you can just cheat. Mega Man 2's boss fights, they're not as difficult as the yellow demon, but you can't really cheat them. Once you know them, and that's not too bad, but it's fine. The Gauntlet in Mega Man 1, that one is in stage, again, going with Mega Man 1's theme of being in world, not really like a structured, planned out event. Whereas in Mega Man 2, it's a special little room where you gotta go knock all those bots around a second time, so it's hard to say which is better. Mega Man 2 is better, but I mean, it's hard to definitively say which is executed better. But in terms of overall difficulty, Mega Man 1 is a harder game. Mega Man 2 is a more technical game. But Mega Man 2 is way more forgiving with the health pickups. So it really balances out in the fact that Mega Man 2 is better. But, you know, Mega Man 2 advances to the next round. So until then, an extra special thank you to our Patreon supporters, and a normal thank you to everyone else. Next up is 3 and 4 versus each other head to head. See you next time. Oh Lord. I should have started recording these much earlier. No matter how long it takes, March Mega Madness will continue. Just, it might not be in a row, or still in March, but before next March, possible.